Well, thank you for coming today. We are recording, just so you're aware. Today, Corrine McJanet, who is one of our learning consultants?
Yep.
Learning consultants, and I'm Jennifer Davey, the early years coach. We are going to be talking about STEAM in an early years classroom. So we've titled our Lunch and Learn today, Full Steam Ahead. Thanks for coming. So, do you have lots of money? Do you have lots of time? If you do, you are in the wrong place. Full steam ahead. In this Lunch and Learn, we'll give you a few ideas and spark your creativity to design your own STEAM activities that are inexpensive, easy to prepare and deliver, engaging, linked to outcomes, easily adaptable for a multi-age classroom. And just so we can clarify, STEAM stands for science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. So that's our focus for today.
I've been a Pebble mentor for, I guess, going into my 4th year. And this is an activity that I've done with older kids a lot. And it was, you have to take paper and you have to use it and tape and try and get a textbook to stand up off the ground. And I've done it always in older classrooms, and Jenna and I decided to see if we could alter the STEAM activity a bit so that we could do it with Ks, 1s, and 2s. And we actually tested it in the kindergarten classroom here because we wanted to make sure that we could actually adapt it so that it actually looked like a doable activity for those kids those age. So we created a little story around it, and we called our character Mr. Paper, and we drew him and we went in with a little bit of a story.
And it was in, sorry, the K1-2 classroom that we adapted this for.
So I won't read the whole thing, but Mr. Paper feels really flimsy and he's feeling very weak. And his friend, Mr. Book, is trying to tell him, you know, you're stronger than you think you are. And so Mr. Paper starts to feel like maybe he can do this. And he really wants to lift Mr. Book up. And so he gets 5 of his family members to come out and try and help him lift the book up. But then we told the kindergartens and the grade 1s and the grade 2s that we also needed their help to help Mr. Paper feel really strong. So we felt like making a scale, like our 1 to 4 scale, and using the words and pictures, we could help our kindergartens and our grade 1s and 2s understand how successful their structure would be, or how successful that Mr. Paper lifting Mr. Textbook off the floor would be. So we made a little scale to go along with it so that they could reflect after doing it. So we explained it, we went through the directions a couple times. The teacher in the classroom, of course, went through all those good working in a group, working in a team, all of those self-regulation skills with them. And you're going to notice at the bottom of Meet Mr. Paper, the story. I actually loaded the Meet Mr. Paper story and the Mr. Paper strength scale into the resource bank. I put the link in there for the resource bank because there's a whole bunch of wonderful STEAM activities in there. And I actually put a couple links on the web that have free STEAM activities to print off that would suit younger students.
Okay, so we went into the K1-2 classroom, and Corrine kind of gave an overview of how the activity started. So after the explanations and the explicit teaching, and the students even used the word grit throughout, which was great. Things that some of the students said were, you know, really quietly to each other, and some of them said it out loud as well, was, "We can't do this. This is crazy. Don't they know paper doesn't have muscles?" Things like that. So they were having those conversations, a little bit concerned about the activity. What actually happened is once they got into groups and they spread out in different areas of the classroom, and I don't even think they could see each other at first based on where the classroom teacher had them sitting in their groups on the floor. It was really amazing because the adults in the room silently agreed not to say anything and to give them that wait time. And so almost every single group sat there and they just kind of looked at the materials and they didn't do anything. And then after they had that time, then they started touching the materials and they started talking to each other and exploring what they could do with the paper. They could crumple it up. Some groups chose to just stack the paper on top of each other and tape it onto the ground. So just giving them that time to explore things like that and work together without any adult direction. And some groups just flew, and one in particular got it straight away. They started making it stronger, went to see if they could make it any taller.
Started doing this with their paper so that they could put the book on top.
And then the groups that were struggling a little bit, it was just having those questions. Could you do something different with the paper? What would happen if you put the tape somewhere else? Just things like that. So not giving them any answers, but just guiding them into thinking about what they could do. And there was lots of discussion amongst the students. So there was more student talking in the activity than teacher talking, which was fantastic. Some students got to the point where they could measure how high they went. So they had that extension activity as well. And then they collectively colored where they reflected on, they thought Mr. Paper's strength was.
And they were also very amazed that once they built their structure and got the book off the ground, that they could actually add more books. So then they could count how many books their paper structure would hold. So they were pretty excited about that too.
And that was actually, I think the highlight too was, can it take more weight as well? They were super excited, like, oh, maybe we can get one more and see if it can collapse. So yeah, they did really well, I think. So the making connections part, time spent. So between designing, creating, delivering, reflecting, we've got about an hour and a half, an hour and 20 minutes. Money spent, I mean, if you had to buy the tape and rulers, we just kind of guessed $2 each type of thing. And the reflection sheet, if you had to print it off, maybe $1, but really we just used school supplies that were already here. So we didn't spend anything, which was a bonus.
Yeah. So we went through the outcomes for kindergarten, grade 1 and grade 2. And we just wanted to share these because STEAM activities connect to so many different parts of the curriculum, and maybe they only touch on it or in a little way, but we actually hit math outcomes, mostly measuring and looking at 2D and 3D objects. We hit science outcomes, mostly about building structures or being familiar with the objects in their environment, and we hit health and phys ed outcomes about working together as a team and being respectful and all those good self-regulation things. And then we want to think about infusion. And of course, we just asked the kindergarten teacher if we could go in that day. But if you were in that classroom and it was connected to teaching you were doing ahead of time or afterwards, there's all these good infusion things that could happen too. So, I mean, we've got reorder. So we're talking about, all that good relationship stuff, that good teamwork, team building, building leaders in the classroom. We thought about the fact that if we were there, you could actually talk about those Indigenous perspectives and talk about like what structures did Indigenous people have. I mean, maybe you could make connections to teepees, because of course that would look really impossible too, because it's poles and it's something flat. And so now they can start to think about that. There's all those good 21st century skills too, and they use the word grit, and we talked lots about, what good problem solving, or is there a different way you could solve this? Do you think you could get it higher now that you've figured it out? You could make that outdoor education connection. Then you could say, okay, now we're going to go on an adventure outside and we're going to go collect things outside and we're going to see what we could build with that. So there's all those ways to infuse all those other good things in there with your curriculum. Yeah, so we just wanted to share, and I mean, I'm sure that lots of people have done some amazing STEAM activities, but we wanted just to point out that you can get, you can buy supplies for next to nothing and create your own, or there are lots of good examples online, or the library has free kits. But we just found examples of, you know, structures with toothpicks and marshmallows, leftover cardboard, paper, tubes, just paper and ping pongs. These are all like examples of things you can do, and you think that the kids are just playing, but it really connects to so much learning for them. You missed the,
Yeah.
we missed the materials.
Oh,
It's gone.
there. We've lost
It's
a slide.
It's gone.
Sorry. So we have a slide that's gone missing, sorry. And basically we listed a whole bunch of materials and the cost to show that you can get so many materials for pretty cheap, and then different activities that you can do with those materials. So we'll just make sure that we put that version of the PowerPoint on the resource bank. So some activities that you can do are building a Nookshuks, igloo, teepee, bridges, any wall games, kind of like the ping pong one, sink and float activities, farm fun, playground, roller coaster, and then eggs, gravity, inertia. Another thing that's been called to our attention is that the Wheatland Regional Library has fully equipped activity kits that you can borrow for free as well. So they've already got the activity laid out, and it would just be a matter of you linking it to the different areas of the curriculum and the 21st century skills and things like that, which is pretty exciting.
And I guess because our audience is mostly our DLC people next door. Oh, you've got a maple bug in your hair. This is a second lunch and learn where Maple Bug has made the screen. Sorry. It looked like a pretty little bread. I had to point it out. I guess this is great for DLC, because you guys can actually have these students build things and give them simple supplies to find and have them build things and connect it to your outcome. So I guess, does anybody have any to share from the DLC that you guys do, or have you done many before? And I know that you guys are eating, so I'm sorry.
Yes. So Kelly's saying brilliant, Julia, and great for families with multiple students.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And I was just going to say the farm fun one, because we didn't actually show an example of that. One that I like to do was, and I mean, could work for any age, is just like send them outside with popsicles or sticks that they find and string, and I love math, and they can build a fence, and then have them put animals in the fence and then animals around the fence, and have them start to think about the difference between area and perimeter. And they build the fence and they stick, so it's like 10 cows around the fence. Well, then that starts to introduce perimeter, and then, oh, I can put 20 cows in the fence. And I mean, of course, you can adapt that for any kind of math level, but that was what we were thinking of when we were thinking of farm fun. I'm sure that there's lots of other ones, but I just thought I'd.
Can you guys hear us?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you want me to say it? No, sure. We were just gonna say that, yeah, these would be great even for this year. All of us teachers are doing like a weekly class meeting, and we've been doing like different activities. So this would be a fun thing to do, like the building, the paper one with the textbook. That would be fun for lots of our kids.
Yeah, that would be so good for a class activity, definitely. Thanks for sharing. So we put the QR code for a feedback form on the PowerPoint presentation, and then we've also placed it in the chat. So if you get a moment and you want to give us your feedback, if you could complete that, that would be fantastic. Otherwise,
I think that's it. Have you guys done any that you want to share with us, and then we can pass them on?
You guys do it. Yeah.
I have not done this idea, but someone here did it with some students. They were building some sort of structure, and there was like an earthquake that came later, and they had to see if they shook it bigger and bigger, I guess, to represent a bigger and bigger earthquake, like whose structure lasted. And I think they was like, you get 5 minutes using just whatever stuff you have around you. And that's what they had to do. I think this was a grade 5.
Yeah.
4 or 5 class.
And then the story went on, and then there was like a tornado, and then there was like something else that happened, and then they had to keep
Okay.
Started with like a windstorm.
Yeah.
It just got gradually bigger.
Right. I just overheard it, so but it sounded cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
The QR code, like we had a trouble with it yesterday, and it's not working on my phone again today. So yeah, we enjoyed this. That's our feedback. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Julia.
Well, the QR code worked for me, so I will fill it in, and thank you guys very, very much.
Thank you everyone for coming as well. We appreciate your time.